Ladies and gentlemen, the Durham probe report does talk about indicting these officials. There is the 18 U.S. Code 371 law within the report. You could do a word search. You could type in the actual, just search for the Durham probe report. You can get the DOJ or you can get CBS or CNN and just do a word search for 18 U.S. Code 371 or just type in 371. And it goes to the specific pages. Now, Durham tried to get Sussman, for example, on 18 U.S. Code 371, but he said, well, he couldn't obtain enough evidence to prove that he willfully tried to deceive the country. That's not difficult to prove. Durham was very good, but he had a great many obstacles. So he couldn't prosecute the Durham probe in the manner that Mueller prosecuted the Mueller probe. Mueller had Republicans and mainly Democrats, but he had Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell backing him. Okay, and he had all of media. Remember, it was Mueller time, and then of course they found nothing. So the Mueller probe led to just, embarrassment. And then the Durham probe report confirmed why the Mueller probe couldn't find anything. They set up and framed Trump. You can't do that. Now, they did so legally, but within the Durham probe report, like I said, you can do a word search for 18 U.S. Code 371. There are other statutes there are other laws they broke also. But that is the statute that says if you conspire to deceive or manipulate or lie to the country in any way, you've broken that statute. Utilizing your government post or your position in the U.S. government or your ties to the U.S. government. So, when all of these government officials were filtering a Steele dossier, or when they were just citing Alexander Downer, an Australian diplomat, or some professor out in, the known universe someplace that had the goods on Papadopoulos. Okay, they set up George Papadopoulos and Michael Flynn. They set up everyone around Trump. Manafort committed crimes like 10 years ago that had nothing to do. Nothing to do. And the same crimes were committed by Democrats he was working with, but okay, that's another story. When they say that, well, we convicted a lot of people, so what? That's public relations. You convicted people not on what you accused Trump of. You wanted a public relations victory because you had nothing when it came to the main allegation, the only allegations against Trump, that he was an operative of another country. They created a Red Scare, Cold War hysteria. Okay, McCarthy-era hysteria. That is not legal. They did so legally, okay, but Bernie Madoff, for example, when he was committing all of his illegal acts, each transaction, you could say, well, he wasn't breaking the law at that point, but then when you looked at the entire scheme, yeah, it was a Ponzi scheme. He was breaking the law. That's why it takes a long time for Bernie Madoff or Sam Bankman-Fried to get caught. That's why they convince and deceive and manipulate so many people. Because while they're committing, the fraud, they're doing so legally. Each illegal step is seemingly legal. And that's how the most nefarious lawbreakers work. These people, when they set up and framed Trump, they did so with, this kind of, they feigned ignorance. They pretended that they were just following leads, and they were really worried about national security. And golly, we had this raw intelligence called the Steele dossier. Well, sure, the FEC fined Clinton and the DNC, and, the DNC never gave its computer servers to the FBI, but, of course, the Kremlin wanted the DNC emails to show the world that Bernie Sanders was cheated by his own political party. The whole thing is so convoluted. You'd have to be a complete imbecile to have believed this. But very smart, highly educated, wonderful, morally superior liberal Democrats ate this up, believe this. To this day, they believe this. It won't matter. They still believe that Russia wanted Trump. There's zero evidence of that. If anything, President Obama was not the hawk. He was running against McCain and Romney, both of whom were hawks, and against Moscow. And President Obama said, "Well, the '80s want your foreign policy back." I mean, this is, the Cold War is over. And then you have Bill Clinton meeting with Putin at his home, according to Newsweek and The Hill, while the uranium deal was going down. But Trump is the big problem. They convinced themselves. See, the Washington Post had 40,000 lies told by Trump. It was the most petulant list. Anything hyperbolic was viewed as a lie. And they had 3 or 4 or 5 Pinocchios. How many Pinocchios do you think the Washington Post gave Adam Schiff, who might very likely be kicked out of Congress through a resolution, or at least the process of removing him from Congress will start from that resolution. But how many Pinocchios? They go after George Santos for lying like Biden has lied all the time. Biden lied through his teeth when he said, man, I don't know anything about Hunter, man. I don't know anything. He knew everything. He had no knowledge of Hunter's business dealings, man. He knew everything. He lied. So you're upset with George Santos, but you're not upset with Biden when he lied about Hunter's business dealings, actually being a part of those dealings, actually also, according to the New York Post reporting, which deserves a Pulitzer Prize, and the Daily Mail also, but the New York Post broke the story, was a part of all the illegal activity and altered U.S. foreign policy, forced out a prosecutor. And when there's one Democrat from Trump's first impeachment for actually not even doing what they did. The Durham probe report is all about going after the direct political rival. They impeached Trump for allegedly going after his direct political rival. And then one person said, we proved that Biden forced out a prosecutor in that country invaded under Biden's watch, whose president stated he was never pressured by Trump. We proved that it was because the prosecutor wasn't doing his job. Number one, you didn't prove anything. You didn't even have the New York Post reporting. You had no access to Hunter's laptop. They impeached Trump before the laptop story, about 8 months before the laptop story came out, and was promptly censored by Twitter. I mean, ask what political side censors. It wants a information governance board. The Orwellian side is the Democratic Party. It's not Trump at all. They said Trump's an authoritarian. No, he's not. What? The Democrats they're the ones who want the governance board to decipher what is good information and what's information that misinforms, while they misinform the public routinely every single day. It's unbelievable. The irony, the hypocrisy, this bizarre state of affairs is unbelievable. But they impeached Trump without having knowledge of vast illegal schemes, this Byzantine little empire that Hunter and Joe created, where it's kickbacks and illegal activity, graft, likely bribery, all of these things. And it's not difficult, to see how U.S. foreign policy correlates to the countries that give to Joe and Hunter. But anyway, hit subscribe to this channel right now. It is illegal to have done what they did. Don't think that Trump isn't going to, in a new, let's say, hopefully he wins, payback will be like James Brown. James Brown, you know his song about payback. Give me your thoughts below.